All right, so we back at it. We back at it again. Okay. So in the building, we got issues going on. New money versus old money. All right. So you got the generational money. You got the young entrepreneur that snapped this idea into a process that became a company type of money. But when it comes down to it, it's new money versus old money. You know, boss lady, what's going on with you? Not even saying that, you know, the older gentleman who's done had money, passed down from generation to generation. Old money could be the older gentleman that got his wealth in his 20s and now, is in his 60s and holding his status. Or which one is it? Because there's a big push going on with the Z's and now going into, I believe, which they're called the alphas now, Gen Z's and the alphas, to where they're looking at their parents not leaving them anything. They're looking at situations to where, you know, can't even to afford a house because, you know, the numbers are ranging so expensive. Like majority of your fixed costs is normally 50% of your bills. And it's getting to the point to where your fixed costs of the money that you make is going into 70, almost 80%. So pretty much all of your money is starting to go towards your bills and leave you the bare minimum for, outside activities, going on vacations, even investing. Because when you start running the numbers, back in the day, you could afford to buy a house, buy a car, feed the house all on one income. Now it takes two. And when I'm saying it takes two, that means husband and wife, partner, have anybody live their lifestyle. Um, we're just friends, going together and getting a place together. Because two guys, two women, stand roommates, it technically takes two. And honestly, if the guys were smart or the women that were smart that just friends or the whatever get together, even with boyfriend and girlfriend or husband and wife, buying a home is more efficient than renting. You know, Jessica was going on. Caught your picture this morning. And when it comes down to it, the craziest thing is a lot of people are not even running the numbers. You know, Considering that the older generation, they see how everything is inflated. But the thing about the older generation, they're more or less looking like, I've got mine, you got to get yours. You know, you have to, parents, they tell you, well, I've graduated or I went to school, I'm finished school. Now you have to finish school. And that's the thing with this generation. The younger generation are looking like, okay, I'm making my money, I'm okay, but I'm not getting to that point as my parents did, or I'm not, as successful as I want to be, because you got to look at it. Like I said, the cost of living now, typically you're supposed to spend around 50% of your money on fixed costs. Fixed costs are the usual things: your mortgage, light water, gas, pretty much food. It's supposed to be a fixed cost. Supposed to be set to a point to where you know what you're spending every month for that to a degree, so it's to the side. Then you turn around and you have things that you can adjust for, from your clothes to vacation, restaurant dining and things of that nature, even investing. A lot of people don't even hardly have enough money to invest. And as of right now, a lot of people are trying to get more into the stock market to make money. It's heavily pushed about investing in the stock market because that boosts the economy, gets the economy moving. But at the same time, Trying to boost the economy by buying into the stock market when you don't even have enough money for a loaf of bread, which one comes first? Buying into the stock market or feeding yourself? You know, because if you look at the cost of average of a house back in the 70s, 80s, pretty much even in the 90s, have quadrupled or more into this rate in this market now. You know, um, before I say 2019, maybe 20, yeah, between 2019, before 2019, you had houses ranging anywhere from 60 to 80,000. You had houses in Detroit being sold for $1 because the communities, you know, the house were, condemned. Some of them had to be torn down, but still, you got a property with already public assisted water, lights, and a gas line going to a property where all you had to do was rebuild for $1. Now the properties have went up. I think the last time I talked to someone, they was talking about in Detroit, they bought a house. It was, same thing, same condition, bad off. They tore it down, but they bought it for $1,000. Went to a developer. The developer built the house on the land for 75,000, and they worked the deal with the developer. Developer built the house, sold the house for 150, and the guy got 25,000 off the deal. Like 25,000 on $1,000. Frugal Mama was going on 25,000 on $1,000. To me, that's a good deal. That's a no brainer. But like I said, those was going on, and before 2019. I think the guy bought that house around 2021 or 2022, going into the fall, going into the new year. So I say 2022, where he bought that house. And if you don't believe me, check out his channel, Andre Hatchett. He's a notary. Um, he deals with Erica Williams and the Classy Climb. So this is all documented. But he actually bought the house, tore it down, had the land, ended up taking the house. Um, taking the land to a developer, had the developer put a house on there for 75,000. They sold a house for 150, and he got 25,000. So pretty good deal. Developer, he walked away with a 50,000 bonus in his pocket, and the guy made 25,000 off $1,000, which was a good thing. You know, and like I said, going into the old money versus the new money, he was able to capitalize on things like that. You know, depending on the area. A lot of generation now, these new Z's and Alphas, these younger kids, they literally don't want to buy rehab houses. They don't want to fix nothing. So they want to spend top dollar. Prime example, when me buying my house, my wife, that was the first thing that she wanted, all the bells and whistles. And I told her, the bells and whistles cost, or we can add the bells and whistles later. Just like now, we just added hardwood. Just painted the house different colors now. We don't have just one set color going throughout the house, you know, and see work what's going on with you. And that's the thing. When you start actually counting your money and start knowing what you can afford, then you make adjustments and go from there. You know, you can turn a fixer upper into $1 million home, especially buying in certain areas. Our house pretty much, I think, is at what I say, a 30% increase since we bought it or more. And going into it, it just basically the area we bought it in. Like I told my wife, I was like, people don't like the term gentrification being thrown around to whether it be good or bad. But this is the thing. Everything has a point of evolving. Everything has a point of growth. So if the people in the community don't want to uplift their community, someone else is on the outside is going to come in and bring your community up. Whether you choose to stay there or leave, that's your business. You know, Just talking with a coworker this weekend, older gentleman. He bought his house years ago, and he had a lot of things added to his house. Over time, his neighbors around him didn't do so much. They just kept the house the way it was. What's going on, coaches? And the point of reference is this: compared to his son and him, you know, he stayed in his house since the 90s. He's just about paid the house off. So he got about a couple of more years and he pays his house off. I recently talked to one of my friends, um, him and his wife. But this guy, he's in this, I think he's 73. He bought his house in the 90s, just finished paying it off. Had a couple of more years. They just went on and finished the rest of the payments off. Um, it was scheduled to be paid off in 20. I think they got a refinance or something. It's scheduled to be paid off in 2031 or something, but they went on and paid it off this year. I mean, I'm sorry, last year. What they did was they started doubling up on the payments, putting money on the principal, and the wife she paid the regular payments while the husband he was putting money on the principal. Finished paid their house off early. You have the boomers that can, work together and do that, but then you have the Gen Zs, the new money, they're looking at just paying the bare minimum so they can go out and party, have fun. Don't you know how much money you'll save if you don't have a mortgage? How much money you can spend without a mortgage? So going into that, like, having fun, playing, and enjoy your money by all means, but have that money staked with a purpose to where you're paying things down, you're doing what's necessary, the right things, so you can obtain more wealth, obtain more riches to a point that, renting is okay. But buying, going into generational wealth, leaving something from your family, even to a point where I've talked to friends and family where they don't even have kids. What about your nieces and nephews? I talked to one of my friends lately, doesn't have life insurance. This guy is 50, actually just turned 50. I'm sorry. Just turned 50, no life insurance, truck driver. I told him, hey, man, me and you are both in this industry. We know how dangerous it is on the road for just regular civilians. Well, there's a point, but regular people just driving the cars and SUVs or whatever. A truck driver, you're pretty much at risk as well because even though you're in this big truck, a lot of times we try to avoid accidents by not harming people because we know the damage we could cause other people. But it gets to a point to where sometimes if people do stupid things, we have to end up just literally hitting you to avoid not killing ourselves. So when it comes down to it, hey, decisions, decisions, decisions. And when it comes down, I always tell them all the time, get life insurance, man. Even if you don't have kids, get it for your family. Get it for your nieces and nephews. And I met his nieces and nephews, and he expressed to me that that might be a good thing because they're smart kids, intelligent, in school, straight A students, and it will be something to give to them. Like I told them, they might want to buy a house, they might want to go to college. This could be something that they can have for later, you know. And like I was saying earlier, going back into it, it literally takes two nowadays, where a lot of people dropping the ball on this, to where it's not even just being in a relationship or just just having a roommate. Affording bills on one salary, you have to be a high end earner. And a lot of times people are to the point of not being a high end earner. So you're rubbing two pennies together to try to get a nickel or a dime. So in most cases, savings is not going to be a big thing for people. But the whole push is for you to try. You know, a lot of times we complain about the price of things. The younger generation, they getting the short end of the stick because they're coming in to a point to where there's hardly no unions. Back in the day, the elders had unions to control their pay gaps that they had. What's going on, Cool Gamer? The elders had, things that were implemented to help them get over the hump of the companies not paying them all this money. They had the unions to step in and say, hey, fair wages, they should get a raise every year. Companies are not giving raises, and then if they are, they're only 15%, 15-cent raise. I know my wife got a 15-cent raise at one of her jobs before. She had an issue with it. I was like, well, if you don't like it, leave. That's their company. They don't owe you anything. You owe them by trying to work and get paid. And I've always had that mindset, it's the running joke on YouTube, but I actually do it in real life. To a point, I'm my own boss. Even if I work for a company, if I feel like this company is unjust, I leave. I'm in control of things that go on in my life. And hence that, to a point in which most people are not looking at the situation, your money that you have, you can obtain just about anything through a strict budget. People are saying that the housing market is too high. The interest rate is 7%, 8%. There's going to be a point of refinancing that house. You're going to lose on, pretty much the principal of everything, but to the degree you have a low interest rate. Then I found this out. You don't even have to refinance. Over time, you can actually buy your principal down. It's going to cost you a little bit, but you can buy your principal down. You know, Going into it, a lot of people 50 and over, what's going on? Over 50 in fact. Sorry about it. But going into it, all this information, a lot of people are just not knowing about it. So that's why they have issue with it. M Mills, how you doing? And like I said, it's just a point. Old money versus new money. The younger generation are not knowing how to handle their money. It could have been that their parents dropped the ball, or it could have been their parents just didn't even know how to deal with money. So how could they teach you something that they don't even know themselves? Then you reference the fact that going into a lot of these younger generational kids that are learning more about finance, but they're still not even using the tools to prepare them for life. They're not taking a issue of buying a house and sitting on it for 30 years, taking a house and paying it off early. There are some people paying their house off in 15 years now, doubling up on the payments. That amortization schedule where it shows you how much interest you're paying on your house, showing you how much principal you paying on your first 15 years. All your money is going towards principal. I mean, all your money is going towards interest. Hardly any of it is going towards principal. So when you do the numbers, it will make it easier on you to start putting money on your principal, a little extra if you can afford it, to actually pay your house off and at a decent time and a rate, to the point where most people just not even knowing this knowledge. Like the easiest way, a lot of us take our time and watch these videos, look for things. Like me, I'm in the gardening community. You know, I had an issue with bugs on my tomato plants. Went and looked it up, easy. Tons of videos on YouTube. We're always on YouTube looking at videos. Um, had an issue with my cucumbers. Talked to somebody in one of the groups and figured out I didn't have any holes in the bottom of my pot. So I was literally drowning my cucumber plants. So I say, well, this year, do something different. I've added getting the pots with the trays at the bottom that filters out the water. So if I overfill my soil, it filters out. So I said, okay, cool. Now it's to the point where I put them in a pot, let them grow so much, then I'm starting to put them in the ground. I'm actually about to build a greenhouse with that. But the point of it is, all this said, I'm learning the knowledge of doing this. So why are we not learning the knowledge about finance? Why are we not looking at financial channels, budgeting channels to teach us how to spend our money? Because there's no difference between old money and new money. It's just the budget that they have to keep their money. You know, the older generation, they stick to a budget, just like the youth, they stick to a budget. You know, Their budget plan is to pay all their credit card debt off. Cool. You don't. Most people have this whole stigma of dying with debt. Most people have this stigma. I will never pay my house off, so why buy? On average, you run the numbers, you see that the market is increasing exponentially. I will post a video of all the rates on the average prices of houses in Atlanta. I mean, throughout the whole United States. And this guy just, I mean, I'm sorry, there was a lady. She did a video in real estate. She's an agent, and she posted the average every state. And I screen recorded, posted later on my shorts. Literally, Georgia was right on point at 1,600 a month, and I'm like, man, that's average. You know, I'm paying less than that because I'm buying my house, but the average on rent and buying is about 16 because you got to count for the inflation right now, where the houses are selling for way more than they should be. Um, and to me, in my opinion, that's due to a lot of the private companies coming in buying these houses, and they're sitting there buying these houses at a rate. Maleka, what's going on with you? They're buying these houses at a certain rate to where they can come back and resell these houses for a higher price or a lower price to somebody else and then sell it back higher to somebody else. Or come in, who says that the rates had to be 1,600 a month? You know, where they say the market rate is that. Who controls the market rate? Companies control the market rate. So they can come in and set a price in an area and everybody's sticking to it. Prime example, if I sell my house for 150,000, company comes buy my house for 150,000, hold my house for a year, and then say, well, I did a few upgrades. I want 250 for this house. You have another company comes in and buy that house for 250, and then the going rate in that area is now 250, making $100,000 easy. Doing the math, sitting back, looking at the science about this, we've been inflated on a lot of these things. But like I said, going back to the old money and the new money, it's about the budget. How you spending your money, how you making your money work for you. A lot of people are missing out on that. You know, it's okay to go on vacation. Never say don't go on vacation. Never say don't enjoy your money. That's one of my key things. I like to pay myself first. I like to put money aside for things I want and the things I like, that in return it benefits me because I feel good when I buy these things or I do these things. Prime example, next week going to the Soil Family, well, this weekend going to the Soil Family Expo down in Savannah. you know and they're going to be talking about a lot of gardening things, going to shape up my skills and get more information, and basically more or less it's going to be a meet and greet. Sweet Thumb, what's going on? It's gonna be a meet and greet where a lot of people are gonna be there, and just more or less YouTubers that are in the gardening and not in the gardening is mainly, it's gonna be the ticket for a lot of them. So it's just more or less a big meet and greet. But the point of reference is this: I have money set aside for that, you know, and I'm gonna be good. Like, even now, hotels, I'm staying in, getting a good rate on the hotels. I'm pretty much waiting to the last minute because I got a couple of hotels I looked at and the rates are actually going down. So that's why I didn't actually book already. But I typically go down there and have this one spot where I go to and I get a good hotel on it, a good rate and a good price too. But more or less, when it comes down to it, a lot of people are not budgeting for things. A lot of people are not, you know, doing things to actually help themselves, you know, waiting to the last minute and thinking that things are going to be okay. Well, I don't have no money, so what can I do? That's the whole point. The difference between the old money and the new money is not that the older people have more money. The older people budget their way to have more money. Just like the newer generation, they can do the same. You know, a lot of these young guys coming in millionaires at 22 and not being able to hold on to that money. They're in their 40s and they're on their second term of becoming a millionaire because the first time they lost all their money down 100,000 and gained it all back because they had the knowledge to make money, but they just didn't have the knowledge to budget and save their money. So that's the thing. When it comes down to it, a lot of us need to get more into our budgeting, get more into looking at things that can help us with the knowledge. Like I said, when I had issues with my tomato plant, looked up all the videos I could to help me getting neem oil, you know, talking about different plants I can plant around my garden. Now that I'm planting outside for my kale, my broccoli, and my cabbage for it not to be eaten by a lot of deers because deers in my neighborhood to actually put out some garlic and onions around them. Different rosemary, things of that nature that can help me, combat these um little pests, the bugs, and also, the deers and things that want to come out there and eat at my plants. Those are the things I started looking for the knowledge and found out these are the things that I can use. So why not use that same approach with knowledge and going into it about your finance? Like I said, the difference between the old money and the new money is strictly on the budget. Strictly on the budget. Those who take the time and put a budget in place will technically always be okay because when it comes down to it, you know what you're spending your money on, you know where your money's going, you know what you can save for, can't save for, or the things that you can't save for, you can make it happen by having another budget for that. There's always a point of action to where, you're learning, you're constantly learning things, but applying those things that you learn to help yourself, you know, do better and be better. When it come down to it, a lot of us, all it takes us just to pick up a pen and paper, write down our budget. You know, what are all our set bills? Make sure those bills get paid every month. Then after that, take the initiative to do what? Start looking at savings. Start looking at investing. Investing pays off long term. You know, even putting $5 aside, something small as $5 aside, $5 a paycheck every month, that's about $20. $20 going into the year, that's 240. You know, add a little more money, there you go. The multiplying $10, $50. You know, some people might just want to do $100 a month set aside. $100 a month set aside. You already know how much that is. You know, 12. Just keep going, keep multiplying. But that's the point. You got to be in it to win it for yourself. You got to have a budget to where you know it's not even more or less the amount of money that you have that you can say, "Well, I'm a millionaire." Hey, you know how many people live millionaire life status just off the money that they already have, the money that they've been making over time. When they ready to go on vacation, they go on vacation every single trip they go on. You know, if they want to eat out every night, they already have everything set up. A lot of people can't do that. And that's the whole point. Having a budget, having things strictly planned for yourself is the key. So it's up to you to whether you determine yourself to, have a lot of money long term or the short term version of being able to only pay your bills this month and have a scarcity mindset next month, or being able to have money aside for emergencies or something like that. Because it's always understood that on average, every American is $500 from being broke. Yeah, spending less is the key. And young Riaz, what's going on with you? When it comes down to it, all things set aside, when you literally get to a point in your life to where you want to enjoy life, you want to have the money there. And When you want to enjoy life to have money there are some sacrifices you make early on in life to enjoy the fruits of your labor later. You know, that's why I always talk about investing, you know, investing in property, investing in, you know, real estate is big, but why not invest in the stock market? Why not invest in, you know, a retirement plan? Look it up. Country Hustle, what's going on? Look at things that can help you long term. And the knowledge is all right here on YouTube. You know, um, I always talk about the guy Ramif. I will teach you to be rich. His channel. Talk about Erica Williams, the classic climb. I always talk about Alonzo Hall, the All-Star advisor. They're giving the information. It's just up to us to look up this information and let it help us because having an understanding about finance is great. It gets you a point of freedom because now I'm at a point to where, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saving for. I know what I got long term. You know, these are the things that can help me overcome a hump. These are the things that I learned, through people that can, hey, at the end of the day, suffice paying the bills, you know, having a budget, having savings, investing. Maybe I want to buy something real quick and I need the cash. I can pull it out of the stock. I have crypto right now. I took my crypto, put all my crypto money out except two cryptos. End up seeing the market was going down, seeing the market going a little bit so deep it's to the point where I knew it was eventually gonna go back up. Threw my money back in, made it easy $100. Easy $100. You know, it's to the point where some things you just have to set it and forget it, you know. But needless to say, shout out to everybody that came through. Like I said, the difference in the old money and the new money is the budget. You know, there are young people making just as much money or even more than their parents, but them knowing the budget can help them better. You know, every generation there's an increase, and they always say that you know the kids should be doing better than the parents, and in most instances, most of the youth are now. You know, and when it comes down to it, it's up to us to set the standard of how we want to live our life later on. Do we want to live it old, struggling, barely making ends meet, or do we want to have, the money to sustain over time? It's up to us now. It's always up to us. With that being said, shout out to everybody here in the building. Like I said, the difference between the old money and the new money is the budget. You know, you can obtain the same amount of money over time and be just like the elders that you say that, oh man, they so rich, man, they got this house. They bought their house young. They stayed in their house. They did investments where they either bought another house, moved out of that one, but still kept it and just kept moving the circle. There's a lot of programs in place. I always talk about no money down. People don't even know that they can qualify for a house because of the typical talking points of people saying that, hey, you can't qualify unless you have good credit. Most people don't understand a 580 is the lowest rate to buy a house right now. If your credit is bad, you can pay more money down and still get a home. If you make the money but just got bad credit, fix your credit or just pay more money down. You'll have a horrible interest rate, but at the same time, you get a house. And then over time, guess what you do? You pay that interest rate down. You refinance. You know, houses are obtainable to people. It's up to you whether you want a house or not. You know, even to the point, let's say you only make $30,000 a year, you still can obtain a condo. They have condos going for 80,000. You making 30,000 a year qualifies you to get a condo for 80,000 because it goes off the rent rate. It don't actually just go off your salary and buying, it goes off your rent rate. What's going on, Kev in the building? Always good to see you, brother. Always good to see you. You know, and that's the point. A lot of the stuff can be obtained, but nobody's looking for the knowledge. Like I keep going back and saying this over and over again. The difference between the old money and the new money is the budget. Older people took the time, they didn't rush things. They wasn't buying into so much, buying this living keeping up with the Joneses. There are a lot of them that did. And the ones that did, you can see their life now compared to the ones that didn't. They stayed the course. They wore nice clothes, but it wasn't Gucci. You know, the women wore nice purses, but it wasn't those Gucci. It was what do they call it? Michael Kors. 100, $200 bags. It wasn't 1,000, 15. A Birkin bag. Was it 75,000 for a Birkin bag? I wish I would spend $75,000 on a purse when I can take that money and start a fleet of rental cars and make passive money by just renting cars out. I can take that 75,000 and go put it on a mortgage and pay minimum rate for the house, or take that 75,000 and go buy a condo straight cash, take the condo, turn it into an Airbnb, or just rent the condo out. The condo's paid off. I don't got to do nothing but just get passive income. You got to have that mindset to win. I keep going at it time and time again. You got to have the mindset to win. But with that being said, I always say when I get off the hill, we here and we gone. Peace.